I believe I can continue to fight, maybe in a different manner. I will not run for speaker again.
What's that I hear?
Pick somebody else.
On the horizon.
Back then. Took my folks to dinner, put the majority of the rest of the money into the stock market and did pretty well. The next semester, I took a break from school. I went to buy a franchise, but no one said they would sell me one. I was only 20 years old. But I learned then never to give up. So I opened my own business, selling sandwiches. 3 things I learned. First to work, last to leave, last to be paid. I wanted to finish my college degree. At that time, no one in my family had finished a 4-year degree. I did pretty well. I now had enough money that I could pay my way through school as long as I went to Cal State. So I sold my business, going to school. I opened up the local paper and said, be a summer intern in Washington, D.C. with my local congressman. I did not know this man, but I thought he'd be lucky to have me, so I applied. And you know what he did? He turned me down. But you want to know the end of the story? I got elected to a seat I couldn't get an internship for. I ended up being the 55th Speaker of the House. One of the greatest honors. I loved every minute. And the one thing I will tell you is...
He loved every minute? Bro, it was short.
Doing the right thing...
Not that many minutes to love, brother.
Isn't always easy, but it is necessary.
Fucking got him!
I don't regret standing up for choosing governance over grievance. It is my responsibility. It is my job. I do not regret negotiating. Our government is designed to find compromise. I don't regret my efforts to build coalitions.
I love his idea of like picking himself up by his bootstraps is literally winning the lottery to start a business. I'm going to fucking lose my mind. The irony is so thick. I am drowning in it.
I leave the speakership with a sense of pride, accomplishment, and yes, optimism. From the day I entered politics, my mission has always been to make tomorrow better than today. I fought for what I believe in, and I believe in this country of America. My goals have not changed.
That's cool. You don't see people do their own eulogy very often. True.
You need 218. Unfortunately, 4% of our conference can join all the Democrats and dictate who can be the Republican speaker in this House. I don't think that rule is good for the institution, but apparently I'm the only one. I believe I can continue to fight, maybe in a different manner. I will not run for speaker again.
What's that I hear?
Pick somebody else.
On the horizon.
I hope you realize that every day I did the job, regardless whether you underestimated me or not, I wanted to do it with a smile.
Oh, shut the fuck
I grew
up.
to enjoy you, even on your toughest days and your
God, this
questions.
is so bitch made.
I could always tell what day it was based upon your question. Monday, you would ask if I could pass the bill. Tuesday was whether the rule would pass. Wednesday was the greatest challenge ever to my speakership. And Thursday, when we passed the bill, you didn't think it was a very big deal. And it all started again on Friday. You know, I wouldn't change a thing. I do believe, I got a new portrait in there too of Teddy Roosevelt. You all know the man in the arena, one of my favorite parts of it, who errs, who comes up short again and again, but there is no effort without error and shortcoming. Who spends himself in a worthy cause, who knows the triumph of high achievement, and if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly. I always like to take a risk. Saturday, I took a risk for the American public. Regardless what anybody says, no one knew whether that would pass. The Democrats didn't want that bill. Yes, they pull a fire alarm. Yes, they do their conga line. Yes, they wanted to delay.
Dude, the bagpipes rip
American people.
As the background on this.
I could not look the troops in the eye and say I would not pay them.
Oh, God, shut up.
For those who spoke on the floor, I thank them for their positive talks. I don't know what those who voted against and said there was some deal, they were never a part of any deal. For those who said about what we accomplished, I'm proud of what we accomplished. From the Parents' Bill of Rights to our energy bill. But if they want to hold me liable because the Senate didn't take it up or the president didn't take it up, that's politics, for what I know. But the one thing I do know, this country is too great for small visions of those 8.
Just call Matt Gaetz a pedophile, pussy.
Who are coming to visit the Capitol, this is a place I want you to visit. I liked opening the Capitol.
January 6th! He's saying, do January 6th for me! Come visit Bakersfield! Rise up!
I like people being able to visit. I hope you like being able to be back in. I think it was important that members actually show up to work as well. You know, to paraphrase Lou Gehrig, he said, I might have been given a bad break, but I truly still consider myself to be the luckiest man on the face of the earth. There's no other country that you could rise to be the 55th Speaker, not get an internship, and be able to fight for the American public. So it was my greatest honor to be able to do it. I love my conference well. I love to be able to I've been a part of the leadership team for quite some time. We won 2 majorities. As leader, I'm proud of the fact we only gained races, only gained seats. I'm proud of the fact as a Republican leader, we elected more women. We elected more minorities. We expanded the base. I'm proud of the fact that for the 5 years I was leader, 2 election cycles, we gained 5 more seats in California, 5 more in New York. We won in places no one thought we could win. The same thing, you would underestimate me. You always said we'd lose each time
Dog,
around.
you fucking didn't win. That's why you're cooked right now.
I intend to make sure that we gain and keep the majority in the next cycle as well. For that, I look forward to
Does he mean George Santos? The one guy.
Yes.
The one guy who fucking did it, who did the damn thing that he's talking about, was a liar.
You still obviously command a lot of loyalty within the conference. We've heard you say approximately 10,000 times that you never give up. So I'm wondering, why not? Why did you make the decision not to put your name forward again and try to grind it out?
Bro, come on. He did 15 votes. Come on.
You know, you need 218 for the rule, 218
let the man die.
To move forward. And I'll never give up on the American people. That doesn't mean I have to be Speaker to do what I have to do for the American people. There's a lot of things I could do for the
Chatter, I'm the one who played the bagpipes.
But
not them.
You know what's
Congress didn't actually play bagpipes for Kevin McCarthy fucking resigning. That's crazy.
Sitting there. In today's world, if you're sitting in Congress and you took a gamble to make sure government was still open, and 8 people can throw you out as Speaker, and the Democrats who said they wanted to keep government open, I think you've got a real divide. I think you've got a real institutional problem. Interesting, it was in this room after we had won the majority, I hadn't become Speaker last. And Nancy Pelosi came to me. She was Speaker at the time on the way out. And I told her I was having issues with getting enough votes. And she said, what's the problem? I said, they want this one person can rule you out. She was the only Speaker to have changed that rule. I had the power to call the vote on her, but I never would. I lost some votes because of it. And she said, just give it to him. I'll always back you up. I made the same offer to Boehner and same thing to Paul, because I believe in the institution.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
It was a political decision by the Democrats. And I think the things they have done in the past hurt the institution. When they just started removing people from committee. And they just started doing the other things. And my fear is the institution fell today.
For 15 years of your life, this position was your life goal, and this is how you got out. These people do not have warm blood in their veins. I mean, he deserves every moment of anger and frustration that he will carry on for the rest of his life, even though he'll probably go into the fucking private sector after his run and will inevitably fucking become incredibly rich. But ultimately, the idea that, like, oh man, the Democrats are undermining the speakership position is so fucking funny, because it's like literally Republicans that have weaponized every fucking facet of government for like the most idiotic reasons.
I might. Yeah. I don't know who's running it. I'll talk to people.
Oh man, I can't believe the institution is collapsing because former people before me.
Yeah, a lot of them I helped get elected, so I probably should have picked somebody else. You know, I love these 200. They've gone through so much. They're down in the conference.
Yeah, his biggest failure was not stopping the pedophile ethics committee investigation in the Matt Gaetz. Oh God, American politics is such a joke, dude.
I hope you felt that I always felt, what can we do best to move forward? I mean, I treated Hakeem
Who's
the way
this
I
random
wanted to
congressman? Why is this man important?
things
There's
we were
real
doing
news
throughout,
coverage. Exactly.
so
He's
he
just some
never-
random
so he
guy
never
from
was
Bakersfield that we're paying
I
attention
wanted
to for no
bring
reason.
the body back.
He's
to
just
the-
some Republican, dude.
We created a select committee on China. I changed the Intel committee. They just came back from MIT where they all had bipartisan briefing on AI and quantum. Started doing briefings with AI the whole conference of Republicans and Democrats alike. We're far from solving that problem, but I'm proud of what we were able to do there. So we'll continue. Yes, sir.
When did you make this decision? Did you know the motion eventually succeeded that you would not run again, or was this right afterwards?
You know, not all those 8, but these are the same people that never voted for me. They thought it was big. They went to present after we went through 15 rounds. Why do I do something for myself that can hurt the country? Why create? I'm not quite sure those individuals are looking to be productive. It concerns me as a Republican based upon watching what they do. I want to be a Republican and a conservative that governs. And we're going to have to find our way to do that.
To do what? To govern to do what?
We had so
Kill
many
poor people? Like
opportunities.
what are
Same people
the policy positions that Republicans have? Again,
that we didn't get all 12 spending bills done, but we first had to do a debt ceiling that they didn't support. They held up every appropriation bill in the summer.
Everything that these fucking assholes do is literally just
on the floor.
Lie, cheat, steal, deny, obstruct, and then go back home and sit on town halls and act like they did something when, like, after all of their hurdles that they fucking put in front of legislation, like, something gets pushed through Congress, oftentimes through, like, through a budget deal, okay? They will turn around and go, look at how much money I brought back to my state.
Much better.
Look at all the roads I built. That is what the Republican position is. I fucking despise them so much. I hate the Democratic Party, but goddamn, is the Republican Party just the absolute worst behemoth
Do you think
in modern society?
I mean, for the whole point, I mean, if you talk about like a Gates came to the whole conference and said, we will never use this. We'll never use this, you know. I mean, this is a man that sat there.
Wow, I can't believe you trusted him.
Said, okay,
idiot.
I'm going to vote for you next time, and falls back and not. So, I mean, it's just the trustworthiness of a lot of individuals. It makes it difficult.
Fake friends!
I do not think, regardless of who the speaker is, that you should have that rule. Everybody had it but Pelosi, but it was never used until it started getting used against Boehner. And if you can always count on the other party to vote in a block against it.
Seems to me like Pelosi's has a better whip than you.
4 to 5 people to control whatever. So it doesn't matter even if you have 96%. So that is not a government that works. That is chaotic.
You said everybody has it except Pelosi. Yeah, that's because
right.
Republicans can't fucking whip their own party into submission, it seems.
I don't think it says about the Republican Party. I think it says something about some people who are not a conservative. I mean, if you were a conservative and you only had one entity making the battle and you vote against securing the border, you vote against cutting this wasteful spending, and then you partner with all the Democrats. Now, you'll phrase it all the other different ways. That's not a conservative. Look, you all know Matt Gaetz. You know it was personal. It had nothing to do about spending.
Say it! Say it! He's a pedophile.
Everything he accused somebody of, he was doing.
Cook him!
It all was about getting attention from you. I mean, we're getting email fundraisers from him as he's doing it. Join in quickly. That's not governing. That's not becoming of a member of Congress. And regardless of what you think, I've seen the text. It was all about his ethics. but that's all right.
Mr. Murphy, can I just clarify really quickly from the first question? Are you considering resigning?
No, I said, he asked about that. I haven't thought about that. I said, yeah.
And then just on where you're placing the blame, you said the institution is...
Look. No. I'm not going to blame anybody. There's not blame anywhere. Look, I give it as good as I get it, right? So you know the challenge. I knew going in. You would take a poll all the time. Is he going to get thrown out this week? But you know what? If I lose my job over doing what I truly believe what's right, I'm very at peace with it. You asked earlier, like, when did I decide? I knew they would make the motion on me. It didn't make one bit of difference. I felt very comfortable in that decision. And I think the American public believed that decision was right. That's the conference's decision.
Mr. McCarthy, now, you mentioned that you're looking to maybe help still in another way. Would you consider having another position somewhere in Congress, whether it's leadership or the chairman? Can you talk about that?
No. There's a lot of great people in conference. There's always other people.
Is it true that the speaker does not have to be a rep? Yes, this is true. Anyone can be speaker if there's enough votes for it.
As speaker, that we lifted more of that talent up. I look at people doing a lot of different jobs and the different opportunities we did, and they're doing an exceptional job. We have so much talent. It is remarkable. Yes.
Is this kind of in your mind a little bit preordained from the beginning? Obviously, it was a much more narrow majority than what you anticipated, what Republicans considered. 15 rounds, the longest speaker's race since 1859. And then
I made history, didn't I?
It was well, you did do that, yeah. But was that kind of always thought that it was inevitably going to go this because of the narrow majority and because the writing might have been on the wall?
Well, would any of you think, if it took that long and you had one person, you knew it was always a possibility, so that was fine. Didn't bother me, didn't change any of my decision I made. But it was interesting, I read a tweet the other day of Matt Rosendale. He goes to Mass every day. But you know what he said his prayer was all last year? That Republicans didn't have a big victory, that they had a narrow victory. When you have members like that are part of your team, you got a tough team. You know, look, when I was in business, I got to hire and fire who worked with me. Somebody else hires them, somebody else fires them. My job was to inspire them. I think we did some good work, and I think we'll continue to do good work. Yes, sir.
No.
Can you reflect back on 2010 when you guys were the young guns, right? You, Paul Ryan.
Eric Cantor, yeah.
Now, all three of you guys have been essentially...
Well, we're not that young anymore.
Well, but all three of you have been pushed out by...
I mean, that was literally 10 years ago. There's plenty of much older
No,
people
let's
than
be
you,
fair,
dog.
and it's wrong that you ever say. They are not conservatives. They voted against, one, the greatest cut in history that Congress has ever voted for, $2 trillion. They voted against work requirements. They voted against NEPA reform. They voted against border security. They voted against... They don't get to say they're conservative because they're angry and they're chaotic. That's not the party I belong to. The party of Reagan...
they do, because that is like true American conservatism.
Govern in a conservative way. They are not conservatives, and they do not have the right to have...
The difference between conservatives, like in the American sense, like real Republicans, and what you're describing is what you're describing happens in the Democratic Party.
Why do you say that? Because your question doesn't hold true to history.
Like, you're literally describing being a fucking Democrat. Okay, being a
you can look at all of our
being a
different
fucking
successes.
budget hawk,
You
deficit
may
hawk
dislike
Democrat
the policy, but we've been very successful.
versus being a conservative who
You
just wants to
watch
fuck shit up.
The Abraham Accords. I mean, you can go victory after victory. The price of gas. We were energy independent at the time. We had more businesses growing at the time. We didn't have to evacuate our embassies. You know, it's easy on its merit to see the difference of what Biden has destroyed America to what the policies we were able to create. Yes, sir.
Can I ask you, what about your conversation with King and Jeffries? What did he ask from you? What were you asking from him?
No, we didn't ask for anything.
You didn't ask for anything at all? You didn't ask any impeachment inquiry or anything like that?
No. And, you know, I have a lot of respect for Hakeem. He wants to win the majority. I heard what they said in conference, you know. Why would they vote for me if I've won every time as leader? I raised 70% of all the money. It's an opportunity for them. The real question to the 8, why would you enable and allow the Democrats to do it? That's the question, yes.
Do you regret making concessions to those holdouts?
What concessions did I make?
You could have leaned towards Democrats to give them possibly
To what?
to secure your speakership in the first.
Look, I'm not going to, no. I'm a Republican. I win by Republicans and I lose by Republicans. It's not that way. And so, did I work with, I believe you should work across the aisle. I worked across the aisle at times. Do I want to make the bill the most conservative possible? Yes, that's the goal. It's difficult when you can't get 218 for the conservative bill. And then they want to challenge you when you went and solved and kept the government open. Yes, sir.
For the last few months, you've been a firewall against the debt ceiling crisis, government shutting down.
We did pretty well, didn't we?
How big of a risk do you think a shutdown is in November without you as speaker?
Oh, other people can do the job. You know, it's interesting. I've never received so many texts from so many senators about how big a play we just did the other day, or how many congratulations about the debt ceiling and the other. I mean, if I would go back to the days before the debt ceiling, none of you even thought I'd get a meeting with the president. All of you'd ask me, is it going to fall off the cliff? End of the day, we worked an agreement out. Some of those people got mad about it, but 2/3, the highest number of Republicans.
Wait, what? No,
for a debt ceiling.
it was the original deal. No, didn't that is like
that was the moment they wanted to go after, and that's what
he got nothing. It was the old deal that
yeah.
What the fuck?
You should.
Biden literally did not. Biden said no to meeting with him.
You can't get everything that you want.
Biden said no to meeting with him. He said, no, fuck off, dude. Yeah, Biden ran his pockets on his debt ceiling.
By both Democrats and by Republicans is that perhaps you've been too transactional.
The Ukraine funding.
In which way?
The Ukraine funding package was added on.
In which word did I not keep?
Which doesn't
Name
even matter.
One thing I did not keep.
Gates says that there's several things you didn't keep from January.
Oh, no. Tell me, what did Gates say? What did I not keep in Gates' mind? Because Gates had never been a part of a discussion. Just because Gates said something, don't believe it's true. I haven't heard him say one true thing yet.
Come on, man. Hit it
what?
harder. He's debate
On
lording
what?
the reporter is
That
so
is not
Jover
true.
for him, dude.
So no. If you're going to ask the question, you're going to say it. Tell me how I did something different on the debt ceiling bill. Any of you. Tell me what I did different on the debt ceiling, that I didn't keep my word.
What is he doing?
You said it was a floor, you said it was a ceiling.
Is it not a ceiling? Okay, this is the Okay, no. When you agree to spending levels, that's the maximum amount you can spend. This is what is wrong
Bro,
with
I've been
Washington.
there. I've been there. I've been where Kevin's at.
Because it's the height that you can spend, you can also spend less. We're a different body. So does any of you believe then the Senate broke their word on the debt ceiling?
Oh, no.
Because they spent more than the limit. But somehow I'm wrong because I want to save the taxpayers more money. We're our own body. I have 2 children. If I give them each $100 for dinner.
This is why this tax conversation is important, or MMT enjoyers and understanders are important to be heard here.
It's not our money. And why am I getting criticized because I'm fighting for the American people that we can eliminate waste? And you know what? We're our own body. So if we can pass the bills, and the Senate can pass the bills, but they pass them higher, but they haven't passed anything, somehow I'm wrong. I kept my word. I did not spend over the limit. They broke their word.
You don't feel you're too transactional, though.
Okay, you used the word, how was I transactional? If you ask a question, I want you to show an example. Give me an example.
Dude,
so what did I do this for?
This is so enjoyable. This is why you guys watch me yell at chatters. Oh my God, I just realized. This is so much fun. Even if you fucking hate this person, it's so much fun watching him mauled. I just realized why so many fucking chatters who hate me watch me and try to piss me off all the time.
No, I did no transactional. I tried to pass a conservative stopgap measure that secured the border and actually cut spending. When that didn't go, the only bill that was going was sitting over in the Senate that had a stopgap measure, disaster, and Ukraine. I made a decision as Speaker to keep the government open, and I put something on the floor. And let me get this straight to all of you, because someone said I did wrong. 72-hour rule, I'm the only one who's lived by it. We're the ones who created it. We never broke the 72-hour rule. The bill I put on the floor was a suspension, which takes a 2/3 vote. And you know what? You can put a suspension on a rule, and you can waive it based upon the leadership. That's exactly what I... The question to you is, when somebody says something, don't take it that it's gospel. Why don't you ask them to point? When Gates said I didn't follow, said, show me one place. You saw Massey, Thomas Massey, who is the hardest line person, say we followed all the rules all the time. That he was in the room when the agreement was made, and then we surpassed what we said we would do. So if you ask me a question, I'm going to answer back, because when it's not true, it's not fair.
How important is it that the Speaker of the House be a member of the institution? Some members are floating the former President Trump.
They always float some other name. Yes, you had... Okay. First of all, you got to be in the institution to understand how it works. And look, it's legal to have somebody else. I just do not think that would ever be good. Do I regret? You start with this question. I don't think you've ever been positive on yet, but come on. I have high hope. This is going to be exciting. That's a good thing.
I actually don't think you're out yet. But do you regret not reaching out personally to people like Nancy Mace, Tim Burchett, who sat down on the House steps today and told reporters that you said something condescending to him?
Okay, let's get through this. I personally like Tim Burchett, and I called Tim Burchett because I read his quote. And Tim Burchett's a friend of mine, which I'm kind of shocked by this. And Tim Burchett, in his quote, said, he's leaning towards no, he's on CNN, but I'm going to pray about it. So I pick up the phone and call him, because I didn't think he was already there. I said, Tim, I read your quote. You said you're going to pray about it. I wanted to talk to you about it. And somehow he construes that, I'm a Christian. I'm not going to offend somebody. I simply read his quote back. I thought there was still an opening, and I wanted to talk to him about it. He never mentioned anything when we were communicating like that. And he said, Nancy Mace is a whole nother story. Okay. Let's just be honest here. This is the one that I just got a text from a primary opponent saying, "Why'd you spend $3 million?" But I called Nancy Mace's chief of staff yesterday, and because I called the chief of staff. Well, she was on The View saying I didn't keep my word, so I didn't know what to... Listen, I can't say this in the press, but okay. But so, no, you'll keep it among yourselves, right? Wait till my book. No. So I call her chief of staff because, I don't know, maybe I don't connect her with something else, but I just said to him, I said, can you please tell me, I don't understand, where have I not kept my word? You know what her chief of staff said? You have kept your word, 100%. Members come to me, and one thing, I don't like the idea that a member comes and tries to leverage me. I don't go for that. You know, I'll vote for the bill you do. That's not well. But if you have a problem with the bill, I want to help you. But I can't sit there and write your entire bill.
Why are we acting like the Republican Party makes sense in the way that it operates? Brother, it doesn't. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to just obstruct. Like, part of the reason why you're cooked is because you had a slim majority, okay? It was very narrow, and the obstructionist elements within the party decided they wanted to fuck you over because they didn't like you, okay? Or maybe they wanted to fuck you over to get clout in the media, okay? And you happen to be the guy that they were going to use, that they were going to bully. But that's it. They were doing what they always do. Why are you acting like you have not seen this happen throughout your entire political career?
Yes. They played so many politics. What they did to this institution and what they did to this building was so wrong. The idea that they put magnetometers there, the idea that they would go to any Republican member that they had been co-sponsors of bills and they no longer could be a co-sponsor, that they would fine members $5,000 if the magnetometers went on, But when Nancy went around it, or Clyburn was supposed to get a fine, it all got waived. The idea that bills didn't have to go through committee. The idea is they created a select committee on January 6th.
He keeps saying Nancy Pelosi was just a better speaker.
Do it. Look,
Which is true. She objectively
I'm trying to change
was.
all that and bring the body back till they can work together. But I think they did a lot of
Like that. This is what I mean, by the way, when I say Nancy Pelosi, for all of her faults and failures, was a demonstrably better speaker than Kevin
that's
McCarthy.
always been my goal.
Because she knew how to fucking whip
I
it,
just
dude.
talked
She knew
to,
how to whip it good.
Mitch yesterday, and I had to call in to continue to fight. Schumer and I talked to Hakeem last night. What I was going to do is, because we had taken 5 up, we passed 4 of them. I was going to start individually pre-conferencing so we can get this work done. I'm concerned with the timeline now. Look, I truly believe at the end of the day we can get this all worked out. I do believe at the end of the day we could find common ground and do something about the border. I don't know if this is.
Yeah, I mean, technically, so was Dennis Hastert, and he's a
Squawk today,
pedophile,
and
right?
TV on MSN.
And Dennis Hastert had a much longer run than Kevin McCarthy. Dennis Hastert saw every top of the hour ad break during his speakership.
Pritzker.
You know what I mean? And he was literally the most prolific pedophile in Congress in a sea of other pedophiles. Think about that. Now, of course, if you no longer want to see those ads, unlike Dennis Hastert, who saw all those ads every hour, top of the hour, every hour, all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free with the Twitch Prime, or by getting gifted a sub if you are lucky. Here is the 3-minute ad break now.
I was going to do just what we did Saturday, a stopgap measure with disaster. I'd gone out to Hawaii. We looked what happened in Florida. Those people shouldn't be held back. And we could finish doing it all individually, but somehow they think that's a dirty word. Yes.
Have you spoken with your family since this all went down this afternoon?
Oh, yeah, we checked and called. Oh, you know, my poor mom. Have you guys met my mom yet? My mom's fabulous. My mom's this Italian lady. And she calls me the other day.
Oh, my God.
She gets worried. She reads what you guys write. And she says, I'm so nervous. I said, why, Mom? It's all right. She said last night she went in the house and she left her car running in the garage all night long, right? And my mom only fills her car up once a week at Costco on Wednesdays, then calls me because the price, she still lives in California, the price of gas is so high. She asked me what I'm going to do about it. But look, I think this job is always harder on your loved ones than you yourself. So they'll be okay.
Did you make a side deal with the White House
No.
on Ukraine?
No.
Unequivocally,
Look, unequivocally, no. Oh, well, if you want to categorize this, let me see, because some people think some big side deal. I did tell when we were doing the stopgap measure, there was a concern in there, does it have transferability on money? I believed and my staff believed it did, but what I did say to the White House, if it does not, if you think some way it doesn't do it the way you would, I will fix that. I did say that, and I did say I do it. Look, I support arming Ukraine. That doesn't mean sending them cash, but arming Ukraine. But I have been on the White House even before they sent this supplemental. I said, you guys are doing it all wrong by just sending us a supplemental. And I think the president is failing here because he's not telling the American public what is the mission. Now, we have a lot of members who are Navy SEALs who've been in theater and F-18 pilots, and they're frustrated. They want to support, but they don't want to support an ever-ending war. They want to see what's going on here. And I've really been on the White House. You've got to come down and talk to everybody, but you should listen to them and the prospects. I'm really concerned, though, long-term. What's happening around looks a lot like the 1930s. A lot of actions that Putin takes is very similar to Hitler. If you are history buffs, you'll know Hitler served in the World War I army, right? He hated that his country collapsed, and they signed the Treaty of Versailles. And what did he do? He ran and created a new party and ran in democracy again and again and again until he won. And when he won, what did he do?
Dude, he's awesome. He did everything right. He's just a lib,
his
dude. His
military, and even though it went against the Treaty of Versailles, the world powers said nothing. And then what did he do? He took part of Czechoslovakia. He took Austria. And then he told the entire world he was going to take the rest of it on a given day. So now the world power could not sit back, so in come Neville Chamberlain. But what had happened? Well, Hitler loved it because he was equal now to the world power, but he saw weakness. Neville Chamberlain made him sign a piece of paper and told us peace for our time. And then he invaded Poland the next year, and World War II began. If you study Putin, Putin didn't serve in the Soviet Union army, but he served in the KGB. He hated that his country collapsed to the West. He hated it so much. When
he hated it so much that he took advantage of the destabilization to rise to power alongside all the other corrupt Western-backed oligarchs.
But dependency makes you weak. He rebuilt it by selling natural gas.
Famous hater of the West, Vladimir Putin.
But his pipeline that went through Ukraine, when they changed power, he didn't want to pay. So he proposed a new pipeline, Nord Stream 2. Everybody loved it. America at least sanctioned it.
Yeah.
Merkel said, great. But what did he do when he rebuilt his military? Invaded Georgia, took part of the Donbass, took Crimea. And the world powers really didn't say much. But then when he parked 100,000 troops on the border of Ukraine, and after he watched Afghanistan collapse, that's going to give us challenges for the next 2 decades. He got his meeting with the world power. So in comes Biden. And what does Biden do? He lifts the sanctions off Nord Stream 2, but asks nothing for it. Putin misreads that and invades Ukraine, thinking it would collapse in 2 weeks based upon Afghanistan. But now we have something even worse that's happened in the 1930s.
Does he think if he doesn't shut the... Wait, it's worse than the 1930s?
Moved, he created an axis of power, right?
Wait,
Italy
what?
And Japan. All countries who wanted to expand their sphere of influence.
What?
Before Putin invaded Afghanistan, what did he do? Create an axis of power with China,
Putin invaded Afghanistan? What?
And Iran. All countries who want to expand their sphere of influence. So what we do here is very important. We can't sit there and just collapse it.
Bro, he's literally a based anarcho-NATOist, dude.
If we provide the weapons to be successful, but why it's so much personal to me, in 2014 or 2015, when Putin invaded the first time, I went to Ukraine. And then I came back. And I took a bipartisan group, and we went to the White House. And we sat in the Situation Room with then the vice president who was in charge of Ukraine, Joe Biden. And we advocated, let's sell them javelins so they can stop tanks. So they wouldn't invade. He said no. And he said Europeans wouldn't want it. I said, well, why don't we sell them to them now and keep them in Poland then? Didn't think that was right. And I fear of making the same mistake twice and sending the wrong messages. But the thing I would tell everybody is,
bro, he's
more
just
Americans
a Democrat.
are dying on the southern border than are
he's a
dying
Democrat that's like more aggro about
each and every
the
day,
deficit.
A plane of Americans crash from fentanyl.
What?
And I don't understand how the White House continues to ignore it.
What are you doing?
My whole plan, and I've been up front from the very beginning, what I would say, if you want anything on Ukraine, we got to do something with the border.
Mr. President, you mentioned earlier you regret helping get some of these.
I was joking. They're all right.
Considering supporting primary challenges to any of these 8 Republicans?
Well, you know, one of the things when I was running for Speaker, that said I couldn't get involved in primaries. But I told the conference I'm a free agent now, aren't I? I think I'm pretty good at electing people.
Mr. President, when was the last time you spoke to President Biden, and do you expect to now?
You know, I was thinking about that. It's been a long, long time. I couldn't remember when I spoke to him last. You know, I've worked with a couple different presidents. I would have thought, we had built some respect for one another going through the debt ceiling. I know he got frustrated with me, but, and I have a great deal of respect for the people in his office I worked for. Ricchetti and all of them, I think look, we have different philosophy, Schwanza and the others. They're smart.
No, to the Haywatcher liberals in here who always shit on me for like having a different perspective on a lot of American foreign policy. Do you feel like Kevin McCarthy and you having the identical opinion on this matter is like perhaps a little confusing in this moment? Like, do you feel like that's like odd, or do you not consider that to be weird, or do you think it's just like a broken clock is right, twice a day type situation?
You guys play what? And remember what impeachment inquiry
identical
is
straw man
simply
harder?
The ability to give the House, Republicans and Democrats, the power when
identical straw man harder.
So if you were lawmakers,
he literally said Vladimir Putin, what he's doing is the same as Hitler, if not worse than Hitler. Because he's like, aligned himself with other countries with like expansionist principles, including China, which is identical to all of those people, to everything that people say, to all of my naysayers on American foreign policy who just like try to reduce my perspective to America bad. That's the same shit.
He was vice president, and he was supposed to be in charge of Romania. I didn't know that. I had
Axis
no
of evil,
idea
fascists.
when a whistleblower came to us and said that the FBI
You'd have a bigger fan base if you weren't so condescending.
Who claims
that's not true,
that the president was bribed.
I would have a bigger fan base if I was just more like in line with America's interests around the world.
He said it'd be hard to find because he has a lot of shell companies. Then I had no idea that IRS agents would come to us. How would I know? They'd come to us and say, look, we've worked for 16 years. We don't have any political basis on the other side.
I'm not sure about that one either.
But we're concerned with what's happened here. That
if I was a regular run-of-the-mill lib,
the statute of limitations to run out.
I still look the same.
They weren't allowed to
but every now and then
interview
I just
Hunter,
like showed a little bit more of a radical aesthetic.
Went to the FBI, they told them.
I would have more of a fan base. If I was a Republican, I would have a much larger fan base.
The DOJ would call Hunter Biden's attorneys and tell them that they didn't even know about a storage unit with all the papers before they could go there. The president told us he never had a meeting. He never talked to his son. Look, when he said he never talked to his son, I didn't believe that. And I don't think it's wrong if you talk to your son. I want you to talk to your kids about anything, right? It doesn't mean you're influencing something. But he literally, I had no idea that the partner to Hunter Biden that also served on the Ukrainian Energy Board said they would literally call into meetings. And then
you're doing a, who else eats sausage? Hitler, Glenn Beck thing when you do that? No, there's a difference between eating sausage, which everyone enjoys, versus having an identical, exaggerated perspective on, like, Vladimir Putin and China doing land grabs
that the president not only called into meetings
and trying to justify endless warfare with both of these countries
and met with the foreign business
by doing the same exact thing. This is like saying Hitler was a transphobe and you're being transphobic. Have you not considered your position? Does this make you reconsider your position when you hear Hitler be transphobic?
From a Russian oligarch.
Okay?
So
I hope you understand that. Because like this is more so in the same range of consideration as like saying, look at all of these fascist policies that modern day Republicans are also in line with.
That was supposed to be Russian that we now found out was Hunter. In there, he did say his father would take the money from him. He did make, and we did find out that the president, I didn't know this when I became speaker,
did you realize Putin is corrupt? No, of course. Putin is a fucking warmongering idiot.
And in one of the emails,
he's bloodthirsty, warmongering, hyper-nationalist, hyper-capitalist.
Son Hunter, and it was about
moron
a phone call he was going to have with the president.
Who gift-wrapped and hand-delivered a basket of goods to every NATO general personally by invading Ukraine and also ruining the lives of, millions of fucking Ukrainians and also Russians too.
You're going to have to go get some more documents. And if you're going to get more documents, I just want to make sure if they're going to fight it and string everything out, that we can get it. That's all impeachment inquiry. Now, if that made the president upset, maybe he shouldn't have lied to us from the beginning. Yes.
Will the haters clip that take? Nope. Shaking my head. No, of course not.
Yes, ma'am.
You spoke about your fundraising prowess and the impact you had in flipping the majority this year, last year. Are you nervous that because of events today and general
You're doing the same thing that they do when they say you have the same opinion as Ukraine as
Look,
like
I didn't
MTG. I don't have the same opinion as Marjorie Taylor Greene on Ukraine. I do not have an issue with aiding Ukraine. I do not have a problem with aiding Ukraine. I want conditions on that aid, and I want a ceasefire negotiation to happen. Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't know what the fuck she's saying. My position is significantly more nuanced than that. The problem is you don't hear that position. You just hear other people clip me out of context. So then you go along with that position because it's much easier to attack a straw man. Okay? I have personally also facilitated in sending aid to Ukraine, specifically in this community, to the tune of $300,000. This is precisely the reason why I think it's really funny whenever dumb motherfuckers like will clip random shit and be like, haha, Hasan wants Ukrainians to die. He loves Vladimir Putin. And then you come in here and you're like, wow, it sure seems like, you're saying things that are a little bit outside of the line of like the American bipartisan support. I think it's fucking gross that the United States of America and all of our leadership are personally, openly cutting ads right now, talking about Ukrainian lives as though they are simply disposable, okay? As though we have done a phenomenal job of privatizing Ukrainian assets and throwing them at the fucking Russian invasion as though they're cannon fodder. By using 5% of our military budget, we've been able to cripple the Russian military's standing power by 50%. I'd say that's a great deal, is a word that I've heard from every single fucking dumbass, okay? 50% of the Russia's standing army has been withered away with only 5% of our military budget with not a single American soldier dying. You think a person that says that gives a shit about Ukrainians that are fucking dying? No, of course not. It's a fucking insane thing that they're openly saying. They're openly saying out loud. Oh. They openly use the word bodies. They've openly said it over and over again. Marjorie Taylor Greene's position on Ukraine is, why are we giving money to Ukraine when we should be invading Mexico with that money instead? If you think that my position on Ukraine is the same as that, I don't know what to fucking tell you. Okay?